Borderlands 4 is great. It's just the optimization that's bad. If the game was optimized, it would be amazing. You all make me feel like a crazy person. Borderlands 4 is bad. And I am tired of pretending like it's not. I am so tired of people acting like the only thing wrong with this game is that it runs as well as a paraplegic dropped in a pool. Borderlands 4 is a bastard child of so many AAA games, trying to tick so many boxes as to validate charging 120 Australian dollars for the base game. A base game with little story, a big empty open world, and drop rates worse than a hospice. Borderlands 4, more like Borderlands 4 out of 10. Now I understand that a video titled like this is already going to have a lot of people on edge, so let's lay out some ground rules so that we can all behave ourselves and maybe have a little bit of fun. Number 1. I'm not going to be a dumbass and tell you that this is my opinion, so you can't get mad. If you enjoyed Borderlands 4, great. If I say something that you disagree with, be sure to tell me in the comments. This video isn't to say that you can't have fun with Borderlands 4. You and I may enjoy Borderlands games for different reasons, but all the reasons why I personally love these games are either changed for the worst, ruined, or completely forgotten about and are missing in this game. Which is exactly why the next hour is going to be me crashing out on repeat. Number 2, just because I think Borderlands 4 is a bad game does not mean that it doesn't have its moments, and we will be giving this game all the credit that it is owed when the time arises. Every video game has inherent value as it's developed by hundreds, if not thousands, of real people who enter the industry out of love for the craft, even if the companies they work for don't share that kind of love and are just there to make money. And number 3, this video is not a video crying about woke or DEI. I'm saying this purely because I don't want some of you to get invested in a video that is this long and be worried that the video is going to devolve into something that boring. If you like that kind of content, that's fine. I'm just not like that. If it was up to me, all video game characters would be women. No, not all different types of women. Make every character Tannis from Borderlands 2. Oh yeah, call me stupid again. Hashtag Tannisgate. In today's video, we'll be discussing everything from the game's opening hours, its world, exploration, gameplay, loot drops, story structure, and ending, in order for me to explain to you all why I believe that Borderlands 4 is not just bad, but it's almost as bad as Borderlands 3. Play the intro.
My flatulence will be your undoing!
So, how does a vault hunting adventure start? This may seem counter to the title of the video, but I'm not going to be an ass for the sake of it. Borderlands 4's opening 2 hours are really solid, and there is a reason that I am saying the opening 2 hours is solid, and not that the opening is solid. Borderlands 4 suffers from the worst creative choices I've seen in a video game in decades. You can argue that it's the developers trying something new, but new should never sacrifice what makes a game franchise so good in the first place. The first 3/4 of Borderlands 4 is a checklist with 3 goals. Each goal is exactly the same, plays the same, feels the same, is written the same, and can be played in any order as to pretend to offer the player freedom of choice. What results from this horrid creative choice is the story being a sacrificial lamb, and the core identity of Borderlands being lost in the emptiness of an open world not worth exploring. But before I can delve deeper into the finer details and explain myself, allow me to set the scene and get us started with a story. Also, if you're one of my Patreon members waiting to see the animated robot twerk, guess what? I've hidden it somewhere in the video. Guess you'll have to watch the whole thing to find it. Yes, I promised my Patreon members that if they hit a Patreon goal, I'd animate my robot form twerking. I love food and I like eating it under a roof. I'm of the opinion that Borderlands games are only as good as their villains. Borderlands 3 at the time had the best gameplay of the entire franchise, and yet people remember it for being horrid, specifically because of the twins and, oh, you motherfucker! Sir, how do we help the audience know that the villains are bad people? Simple, make them content creators. If you're going to make another game and a good impression, you better get people hooked on your villain. And I'm happy to say, for the most part, the Timekeeper's introduction to this universe was a home run. There are 3 things that you need in order to make a solid villain in a Borderlands game: a badass design, some kind of power to bring down on the player, and a mouth made to shit talk. Handsome Jack had a cool design. His power to bring down on the player was his corporate sponsored loaders, and that man was shit talking until his eyes fogged over. An amazing villain that people still talk about to this day. And then there are the twins. One of the twins had a cool design. Their power to bring down on the players were the powers of a siren and an entire cult of psychos, but they were terrible at shit talking. They were cringe, corny, and written to be kind of dumb. The second that you fumble one of these 3 traits, you are in for a bad time. But what they did with the Timekeeper was rather interesting, as they combined 2 of the traits to make it even cooler. The Timekeeper opens the game by vocalizing his love for order and is fascinated with you being a Vault Hunter, one of the universe's most notorious band of chaotic nutjobs practically seeking out means of destroying order.
What use is a Vault Hunter? You are, in a word, mayhem. I take that personally.
Who would you be?
My name is my use. The ones who gave it to me called me Timekeeper. Now you may have had free will out there in the myriad galaxies, but here, on Kairos, you exist in my universe. You will obey my will, and you'll serve the use I have for you.
Good luck with that.
Luck? We don't have that here either. Humans need a stronger hand than luck to keep them deterministic. Like any domesticated animal, they must be tagged, tracked, and when necessary, shoved back into place. This bolt is that guiding hand. My hand. On your neck forever.
You may not know it yet, but it is here that all 3 traits are displayed to the player, but it doesn't seem all that obvious until later. The Timekeeper's design is fragmented, as the first time you see him is through a hologram as he lectures you, which I think is a fun way to keep him mysterious, even whilst spouting exposition directly at you. Like I said before, the Timekeeper is special, as 2 of the iconic traits are combined into these bolts. Later, as you attempt to make an escape, the bolts are used by the Timekeeper as a means of controlling the minds of those who have bolts locked into their nervous system. The Timekeeper does not shit talk you through the radio like every other villain. He shit talks you through the victims of his rule.
There was a time I would have used a gentler touch with these wayward creatures, but now they serve a greater purpose. Now you see the true bars of your cage. You cannot break free.
And every single civilian on Kairos has a bolt installed into their neck. If he wants to shit talk you, he doesn't need the radio, he'll just whisper into your ear. So not only are the bolts the Timekeeper's power to bring down on the player, but they are also his means of communicating to you. And the game displays the Timekeeper's villainy really well through RJ. RJ is immune to the Timekeeper's control through his Echo Bot. But the second RJ is caught off guard as he helps you trying to escape the facility, the Timekeeper takes control of you and makes you watch as he attempts to kill RJ with your hands. Only for RJ to transfer the Echo Bot to you in order to save himself. And then this happens.
RJ? What use is a Vault Hunter? None at all. No!
This is vile. It's awesome. It's a perfect demonstration of the Timekeeper's power over this world. And I normally complain about games trying to artificially pull emotion out of you with deaths of characters you barely know, but RJ feels more like a writing tool delving deeper into who the Timekeeper is rather than an emotional through line cut short. The death of RJ is brutal, and I love it. Oh man. I can't wait to see more of the Timekeeper as the game goes on. Hell, he might even rival Jack if he makes enough appearances. Yeah. About that, the Timekeeper will now proceed to fuck off and have little to do with the game for the next 20 to 30 hours. I hope you didn't like the Timekeeper, because if you did, you'll be sadly disappointed. You will not see him in person until the end of the game. They completely drop the idea of him talking to you through other people outside of one instance where he isn't even trying to do it to mess with you. He's trying to destroy another villain's schemes. And when he does talk to you over the radio, he just dribbles shit about the other fucking villains that respectfully are nowhere near as cool as the Timekeeper could have been. We just introduced you to the most hardcore villain this franchise has had in over a decade. Anyway, now it's time for the real game to begin, where you'll have to go kill 3 other villains with filler content bloating the runtime before you can even meet him again. I love it. The classic AAA experience, a well thought out, put together cutscene followed by dog shit. Let's speed through some of the story beats so that I can express my frustrations with the story structure as opposed to the story itself. After RJ is killed by the Timekeeper and you get blown up and you wash up ashore, you are recruited by oh no! You know what's worse than Claptrap being in another Borderlands game? Me having to admit, unironically, that he is funny now.
Rookie, I could kiss you, but only if you were into it, and if I were in any way attracted to humans, and if I had a mouth. I have no mouth and I must kiss!
You join the Crimson Resistance and you need to recruit others if you're going to go fight the Timekeeper. You meet a guy called Rush, he tells you about someone who was once very close to the Timekeeper, you hunt her down and her name is Zadra. And she decides that she's gonna help you take down the Timekeeper, and here's where everything gets a tad fucky. These opening segments of my videos are always used to talk about a game's opening, but Borderlands 4's story structure is so unbelievably fucked that I'm going to be talking about the first 30 hours of the game like it's the beginning, because it really does feel like Gearbox wrote a 7-hour story and stretched the first 3 hours over 30. Zadra tells you that if you're going to go see the Timekeeper again, you'll need the command bolts of 3 different villains in order to open a door. You have Soul, Callus, and Violictor. Each villain has their own biome, and you can complete these villains in any order that you'd like. The game turns into Far Cry 5, and I don't know if you know this, but that is the worst thing you can do for a game's story, and here's why. Rush is a very fun character. He is a gym bro turned resistance leader, and he is a lot of fun.
You'll be good in no time. Hey, drink up. Hydration, people. No more passing out. Protein for you. Anyone needs anything, just ask. How about you? You hurt? Hungry? Thirsty? Doesn't matter. I got you.
He is located in Soul's Zone. Once you are done in this area and Soul is defeated, Rush vanishes from the story. But why is this the case? He is literally being recruited to go battle the Timekeeper with you. What do you mean he just disappears? They do a fake out where Rush tries to sacrifice himself in order for you to complete your mission in trying to take down Soul. He survives this moment, but it's the exact reason why these characters from specific zones become irrelevant once you head into another zone. You see, because you can complete any zone in any order, Rush cannot appear or even speak whilst you are in a different zone doing a different quest line, as the player will then know that if they try to kill him in a different zone, the game cannot compensate for that choice and in what order you played the zones in. There are 3 bosses, 3 zones, 1 to go with each, and none of the consequences from any of those zones can carry over over to the next zone story, as the game does not know what order you will be playing them in. Now, no matter what you do here, Rush still lives. It's not a matter of the game not knowing what choices you made. It's a matter of not wanting to have outcomes spoiled for you. The game outright tells you that you can play any zone in any order. So if I do Violictor's zone and then Rush talks to me during a story mission, I then know that if his life is ever in danger in another zone and he is about to die, I am guaranteed that he is going to live. Because what if I did Violictor's zone after this scene? Before the scene is even over and it's revealed that Rush survives, you already know he won't die because of his dialogue being in a different zone. What results from this is being introduced to characters that you may like and them vanishing for up to 20 hours at a time. It is only once all 3 zones are complete and you have all 3 bolts that the game's story structure goes back to being linear, and now the game's story can have consequences that it can account for. Where most Borderlands games stories look like this, Borderlands 4 looks like this. You pick a zone and you do the quest. You then pretend like it didn't happen and then you do this zone. You then pretend that none of that happened and do this zone. Once you have completed all 3 zones, now you are allowed to remember everything that has happened, as the game is back to having a fixed story path and can finally acknowledge everything that has happened thus far, just not in what order it happened in. So let's discuss all 3 zones that lead up to the game going to a linear form and save everything after the 3 zones for later in the video. First up, the Fade Fields and Soul. You'll notice quickly that there are only 2 noteworthy characters and 1 villain per zone. For the Fade Fields, it's Zadra and Rush as your companions and Soul as the villain. The story for this zone is that Soul is inventing something and you need to find out what it is. And what's really interesting is that the story missions within the Fade Fields revolve around Soul creating a weapon that can turn organic matter into a sort of force field that can only be destroyed by more of itself. And it is really cool, as it will end up being a mechanic in Soul's boss fight. The story missions lore drop the source behind a mechanic, how to use it, how to stop it, so that when you finally fight Soul, you know what you are doing. It's pretty cool, and it is the only credit that I'm going to be giving this area whatsoever. Soul's boss fight is really cool. Would have been nice if the journey to get to him was cool as well. I won't get into it too much now, but something that we will be talking about real soon is the game's lack of identity. Remember how Borderlands games always had really cool boss fight intros for smaller, lesser known bosses? You know, Boom Boom and his brother Bang, Captain Flint, Mouthpiece, the Bunker, Bloodbeak? The Warrior. I'm not looking these up. I'm going off of by memory because of just how memorable these boss fights are. The games would offer bosses, no matter how important or irrelevant they were to the story, an animated intro. It's some of the most memorable moments in these games. And, the boss fight intros are gone. The only characters that get them are Soul, Callus, Violictor, the Timekeeper, and 1 other character that we will talk about later. Boss fights were this franchise's bread and butter, and they swapped it out for fuck you! Every boss fight in this game, outside of the big 4, are recycled enemies with a health bar times by 2. And every zone suffers from this, and don't worry, we'll get to more of that real soon! Next we have Callus, and hashtag Callusgate! Callus for me was the standout of all 3 of the lesser villains, which is upsetting considering that her zone let me down the most. And it's probably because of her specifically being my second zone and the slow realization that all of these zones play the same. Every zone has the same story, the same beats, the same missions, and it sucks. You go to an area with the main mission to kill a bad guy. To do so, the first quest will be to recruit the help. Rush, Levain, Defiant Calder. You then do a mission where you are introduced to a character who is the more important help. Zadra, Zane, and Amara. You then do a mission where you help them do a thing to get them on board. Find Soul's weapon, help Zane unleash his pet, and Calder wanting his mountain back. You then do another mission where the stakes are presented, Soul's weapon unleashed, finding Callus's lift to the moon, Vile's experiments to enter the realm of the sirens, and then the last mission is you fighting them. Once you beat them, you say goodbye to that zone's characters and you never see them again in the story, outside of the big help characters who will rejoin the story once you have completed your list of chores. The first time around, things are pretty fun, but once you realize that every area has the same identical story structure, you really do feel like you're just going through the motions. Remember how I said Soul's story revolves around finding out what he is inventing? Yeah. Well, that's fucking everyone! Soul's inventing a weapon, Callus is inventing a lift to the moon, and Vile is inventing a means of absorbing phase energy. Yes, shooting feels fun, and the character quirks aren't as bad this time around, but the mission is fight 3 bosses, and it takes you 20 to 30 hours to do so. 30 hours to do the same amount of cool, fun shit that every other game in this franchise had you doing in the first 5 hours. It's not a case of 30 hours of fun, it's 5 hours of fun stretched out so thin as to charge you $120 for half the amount of quality. Oh cool, a boss, but it's an enemy I fought before. For fuck's sake, I killed this boss, and then the game even tells me on screen that that's the 45th time I've killed this enemy type. The game is taking the piss, and it knows it. It's literally telling me. And if the game isn't just feeding you the same shit over and over again, it's tripping over itself and fucking up each zone's story. When Soul releases his weapon of mass destruction, you need to chase the ship down in order to save the resistance. And as I'm chasing it, I notice my character starts talking to no one.
Yeah, it probably will. But you better believe it's gonna claim yours first.
And then as my character stops doing that, the timekeeper butts in bragging about how cool Soul is.
I'm impressed. But not with you, obviously. Grateful, though. Yes. Very. Soul has long lacked the conviction to do what's necessary.
Has my character started developing some kind of mental disease because of him being controlled by the Keeper? Is his mind fracturing? Will this tie into the story? No. It turns out that the trigger for Soul's dialogue is broken. You know how I said that shit talking is very important and integral to a villain? Yeah. Well, Soul's dialogue where he's meant to do that during some of the most important story quests doesn't work. Here's the footage I showed you before. You see his name and his picture flicker on the comms and then it vanishes. My character wasn't talking to themselves. They were responding to dialogue that the game didn't even play. And this was not a problem on my end because I went and watched other people's playthroughs of the game and yep, there it is. You literally destroy Soul's big weapon of mass destruction and you don't get to hear the villain's thoughts on the matter. There's the ship falling and yep, there goes his cool dialogue. Did you miss it? Are you fucking kidding me? For Callus, I didn't even get to fight her before the game already told me that she was dead. I'm not kidding. I only just recruited Levain as an ally after I just saw how badass Callus was in action. And then as I walk out of the building and I'm blown away that I just happened to be recording at this moment, environmental NPCs accidentally trigger dialogue for after you've killed Callus.
I still can't believe the Vault Hunter killed Callus.
Huh?
But I wonder what that means for the Rippers. Nothing good, I'm sure. Do you think they're sad?
Whomst? The Rippers?
Yeah. Are they like, boo-hoo, mommy's gone? Or What?
Callus is the only villain who actually hates the Timekeeper, who doesn't actually need to be killed in order for you to take her bolt. I thought it might be cool if maybe, maybe we ended up besting her, taking her bolt that she ripped out, and potentially recruiting her to the fight to fight alongside us. A villain turned, we've got the same enemy so we're friends type shit. But no, before I've even been in the same room as Callus, or even, know her motives, I already know that she's going to die. Violictor is the weakest villain of all the 3 zones. He fits into the mad scientist archetype, and he sounds cool, and you'd think I'd be more invested in the concept of a madman trying to harness the phase realm that the sirens get their powers from. And we will give this section of the game a little bit of credit later on, but this was my 3rd zone. You really are just going through the motions until you get to fight him, and then, you know what, guess what? The game gets good. The game gets good after you beat these 3 bosses. Really good. It takes 30 hours to get there with drawn out bullshit that could have been an email, but once the game is done being a massive open world collectathon, the game goes back to being a crisp, high quality joyride for 2 more hours. We will come back to the endings of all 3 zones so that we can discuss how the game continues on, because the game does drop some really interesting details that only become apparent once all 3 zones are complete. But before we can continue with the actual story, there are some things we need to discuss first, like the exploration. Being able to explore in a Borderlands game is almost as important as being able to shoot. And in Borderlands 4, hey, that fucking hurt. What the hell is your problem? Oh. Okay. So, while I handle these guys, why don't we talk about exploration? I want to start this section off with some things that I actually liked. For a video titled Borderlands 4 is bad, there sure is a lot of praise going on, and you gotta set them up before you knock them down. Borderlands 4 has some of the best side quests of the entire franchise. It actually caught me off guard how impressively well written some of these quests really are, and I'm shocked with how the developers managed to balance nuanced story writing that reflects on the human experience and poo. The first side quest I found was a sentient missile that failed to detonate and got stuck in a well. You're the only person that can understand the missile, and she asks for you to repair her so that she can explode. So you repair the missile, move it away from the town so that it won't hurt anyone, you activate the missile, and womp womp, the missile crashes into the town again and blows the town up, killing everyone. Haha, classic Borderlands. Only none of that is true. Her mission is to detonate, she wants to explode, but as the mission unfolds, you both realize how much of an effect the missile's presence in the town has changed the lives of those around her. A man with no friends would talk to the missile about his problems and make him feel less alone. She would listen, and while they couldn't understand her, her beeps and clicks made people feel like they were being heard. You and the missile reflect on how just because someone else places a purpose on you, that doesn't mean you can't change and be something else.
Oh! The guy said to say thanks for listening. Seems like you helped him, even if he couldn't understand you.
Really? That's wonderful. It's strange, but he helped me as well.
You could always stick around and keep doing what you're doing, right? Upload you to something a little more permanent?
And what impresses me the most is, you'd assume that the writing would be simple. She was made to be a missile and she chooses to change and become something new and stay in the town. But no. She confesses to you that her time in the town has only affirmed her position on wanting to explode. She doesn't hate the town, she pities those who live there. Every day she heard people speak of dreams never reached for, or ambitions being trampled upon by those unsure of themselves. And whilst she is afraid that even with repairs, she may be a dud, she realizes that she is in a privileged position where she really can reach her goal if she tries.
I thought I would be happy knowing I will learn the truth about myself.
Being scared or uncertain or wondering if it's all worth it. That's how life works, if you're really living it.
But I wasn't designed to be uncertain or scared, only to fulfill the purpose I was built for.
Those villagers clearly had an effect on you. Just keep reminding yourself why you're doing this.
And I will do this. For the man who told me of his loss. For the couple who spoke of their forbidden love. For the children who played at my side. For all those who would give anything to be so close to their goal.
To give up would be to show the people that things really don't change. She spent her life wanting to explode. She doesn't want to give up like everyone else. She doesn't want to squander being given a chance when all everyone else wanted around her was a chance of their own. You press the launch button. She thanks you, and whilst almost a failure, she does it. She explodes, proving to everyone from the town that your dreams, no matter how unattainable they might seem, are still worth reaching for, even if never reaching would bring others more comfort. My second side quest was helping a guy get laid to a thrasher. This is the best type of whiplash. Anyway, you want to see me twerk? Are you dirty animals happy now? Geez, I do regret making this promise. I sure hope nobody watches this video and finds out that if my Patreon gets to $3 grand a month, I'll make a video on all the smut games on Steam. That would be terrible. Oh great, it's Claptrap. Oh cool, it's a quest where I collect random shit for Claptrap. What a garbage quest! Claptrap feels alone. He is on a planet he doesn't know, and all of his friends are missing. Claptrap sends you on a quest of nostalgia, gathering things from his past so that he can remember when things used to be better. He reflects on his time with the Crimson Raiders, and he longs for things to go back to the way they were, to go back to when he wasn't scared of what the future holds. But as the quest goes on, he realizes it's only because of you, a new friend in his current life, gathering things from his past, that he realizes that you are the current thing. And you really are one of the latest highlights of his life. He realizes that if he clings to the way things were, he will never be able to enjoy the present. So you collect all of his memories, and instead of sailing off with them like he planned, with your help, he blows up his memorabilia so that he can focus on what really matters. His first new friend on a big scary world that he doesn't want to be afraid of anymore.
I feel weird. Like there's a hole in me, but not the bullet kind. It feels achy and warm, and it stings, but in a good way. It's nice. It wasn't what I expected, but you still saved the day. Like the true Crimson Resistance rookie I knew you could be. Thanks, Rafa. You're a good friend. You're a good friend.
Claptrap, from this point on, is not important to the main story. His only role in this game is to give you super fun quests to do, and for him to spend time with you whenever he can. Found a murder toilet that wants to kill people? Oh hell yeah, let's call Claptrap, he's gonna love this. Oh shit, Claptrap got ripped apart again. Alright buddy, let's put you back together. Claptrap goes from the most annoying character in every game that he is in, to the most adorable best buddy a guy could ask for. The side quests in this game can be a lot of fun, helping a guy crack his back so hard that he disintegrates from the pleasure, helping turn a band of rippers into a literal ripper band, and it's all a lot of fun. Anyway, on to the next topic. Here's why Borderlands 4's world and exploration sucks. Evolving upon the Borderlands formula is good, okay? What isn't good is completely forgetting what made these games fun in the first place. What pisses me off about Borderlands 4 is the game's inability to follow through on cool concepts, because it would require effort, and unfortunately, it seems that all the time and effort has been saved for all the DLC that I know they've already finished developing that they want to charge you more money for. I found a really interesting quest about a guy who was worried about tremors. Where the earth is shaking. Can you investigate for me? The quest starts off simple enough, but evolves into something really cool. The Order is the Timekeeper's military force of robots, but the Tremor quest takes you on a journey of discovery, and what is causing the tremors is a big problem. A big synth. shaped problem. The first synth to be manufactured was given sentience, with the primary directive of protecting the Timekeeper's vault. The Timekeeper guards the vault, which supposedly gives him his immortality. However, the AI goes rogue and comes to the logical conclusion that any living thing on the planet could potentially open the vault, which results in the Generation 1 synth wanting to kill anything and everything on the planet. The synth mind was so powerful that they couldn't kill it. They had to bury it. And the tremors are being caused by Gen 1, the first AI attempting to upgrade and escape his underground prison. And he is a true Borderlands villain. He calls you up and mocks you whilst longing for his freedom. He has been locked down here for decades, evolving, changing, gaining power. What kind of mechanical monstrosity am I about to face?
Classification: human. Threat level: Vault Hunter. So you do exist. Long have I waited, processed, gathered power. And now here you are at last. I endure while your meat rots. All inevitable. All for you. An offering to be made. I am waiting. Will you come?
He demands that you set him free. You jump into the boss room and... Wait, that's it? What? I could bitch about how he is literally just a regular looking synth that I have fought 100 times before. I could bitch about all of his other synths being carbon copies of the synths of the surface, which makes no sense considering he is the first ever iteration. But what pisses me off the most is... where the fuck is the animated intro? They hype this boss up for like an entire hour. He is a machine so powerful that the surface is literally cracking open due to him powering up, and you walk into a room and it's just another synth with the same moveset, the same design, in another boring room that I've already fought synths in with no dialogue during the fight. But no animated boss intro is the shit-stained cherry on top. It cannot be that fucking hard to develop boss intros. It can't. You know what? Fuck it. I'll prove it's not that hard. So I just finished the quest right now. Okay? It is, what? 3:05 p.m. I'm going to animate an entire fucking opening for this villain right now, and we're gonna see how long it actually takes me. It is the 18th of September at 3:05 p.m. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Vault Hunter. When I am done with pirates, you'll be nothing but numbers.
Okay, so I'm done. Let me just skip through it so you guys believe me. Look at that. The fucking, it's the clip, okay? Look at that. 6 p.m. If it can take me only 3 fucking hours to make that less than, I'm just a loser in a bedroom with a $0 budget. If I can make that in less than 3 hours, I'm sure Gearbox can use their $1 billion studio to give this game some flair. The flair that has been in every single game before this. This sort of drawn out bullshit for boss fights is littered throughout the game, in both story missions and side quests. You'll get hyped for a bad guy to fight that isn't one of the big four, you'll enter the arena, no boss intro plays, you see the boss is just another guy you've already killed 100 times, and your heart sinks. But don't worry, this is a $120 video game. I'm sure the quality is located somewhere else. Haha, where? Borderlands 4, a game in a franchise known for making an entire new genre of video game and having the most identifiable gameplay loop of all time, decided just one day that it wanted to just be like everything else. A big, beautiful open world with bumfuck nothing in it. I'm not saying you can't find interesting stuff to do and find shit that you'll enjoy doing, but the fact that they spread it out so thin in a world this big and they just filled in the gaps with slop content. In every other Borderlands game, you enter a biome, have 5 to 10 hours worth of fun, and then you move on. Up to 10 different zones with their own unique art direction, new characters, stacks of new enemies, with the map keeping a condensed form as to make sure that the player gets to experience and enjoy everything. And it was amazing. Borderlands 4's open world has 3 biomes, 2 of which are tedious as fuck to drive through, as there are more mountains, canyons, and cliffs than there are fucking open spaces to drive. I mean, just look at this map, dude. What the fuck do you mean that I have to drive around all of this? Map design, so confusing that you will never learn the landscape off by heart. You will be pressing Z for hours on end, which will give you a line to follow, and eventually, after driving for 3 minutes, the game will eventually manifest something interesting for you to do that isn't just collect the collectibles, capture the tower, capture the outpost. I was not kidding when I said this game is Far Cry. This open world is designed with a ton of unconventional verticality and offers you a grappling hook, which can only be used in spots designed for it. And where you are in a situation where a more open-ended take on a grapple hook would help the game, it just won't allow it. Here's me trying to just jump up this ledge, but there's just an invisible wall here for no reason. That rock is perfect for jumping on, so why can't I? But Zenny, that's the edge of the map. The game can't just let you go anywhere or you'll break the game. Shut the fuck up, Bob. This ledge literally leads here. Why the fuck am I not allowed to just jump this? The entire map is like this. There are a few quick fixes for the map's problems, with the map's verticality being so restrictive when it comes to the aids that can actually help you when you need help. Don't make the grapple hook require a placed spot. Let the player use the grapple hook on any surface. I mean, come on, if Just Cause 2 can do it 15 years ago, I'm sure it'll be fine here. And to help with the verticality of larger locations like these giant fucking valleys and mountain locations, just make the hover bikes have a 5-second ability of burst flight. Let it transform into a glidable jet once it boosts into the air. You can literally glide normally off vehicles, so just give us that sense of control whilst we're driving. Instead, you'll be following roads and chasing this stupid little line because you'll either just keep smashing into mountains that are in the way, or you'll be in the desert biome, falling off every cliff and valley to your death if you just try to wing it. And if the environment doesn't bore you, the enemies will. There are 2 enemy types outside of random animals you can fight: the Rippers and Synths. And anytime the game makes you think you're about to fight some new enemies, just know that they will be these 2 enemy types reskinned, and not even reskinned well. Those Gen 1 robots, which should look very different to the new Gen Synths as it's been hundreds of years, they were just the normal enemy synths with a hat on. Wanna do the only other side content in the game, teleporting deep into the other vaults scattered around the planet? Well, once you open the vault that no one has entered, you'll be fighting reskinned synths again. And there may be a story reason for this if you've played the game, but I want to make it clear that these synths were not made by the Timekeeper. They were made and programmed by Zadra. She literally says so in the Gen 1 mission. So if you know how this game ends, don't tell me that there is a reason, because there isn't. This is just recycled bullshit. It gets even worse. The 3 vault monsters that make up the only decent side content in these vaults are just the final boss of the game, but with one trait changed. This one has tentacles. This one has a spiky back. This one has horns. Vault monsters in every game have been wild and different, and when the game decides it's gonna give us multiple vaults, all the vault monsters in this game look the fucking same. I will give them a little credit though. They do all have different movesets, but opening vaults and beating vault monsters usually offers crazy story-related powers. What kind of wild powers do the vaults give the player? It's actually crazy, guys. You're not gonna believe what the game gives you. After you open a vault and kill 10 waves of enemies and beat the almighty powerful vault monster, the game gives you a glider upgrade. You can now glide for another second. All 3 of the side content vaults give you the same reward. And when the game puts you in a location where one of the two enemy types should not be, the game will just pull some bullshit to have it that they were there the entire time, because the game knows you're gonna be bored fighting the same shit over and over again. The Timekeeper has a beautiful city where no one is allowed in or out. Callus and her Rippers want to destroy the city, but there is no way in, and the way that they were going to do it has been stopped by you in the story. But you can bet that when you yourself blow up the walls and walk in, the Rippers are already established and in the walls and have bases fucking everywhere. Callus's whole story zone is about her wanting to go to the moon with her Rippers, something that her and her Rippers literally fail at and never do. And even when the lift does go to the moon, you kill all of the Rippers that were on the lift when you use it. But you can bet your bottom fucking dollar that when you go to the moon, there are Rippers with the same camps and bases that were on Kairos already on the fucking moon. The fact that I go to a new location where none of the factions should be and there isn't something new to fight is insulting. The whole point of them making the game open world like they did was to fill it with the same recycled shit as to pad out the game and charge you more money for it, to save their resources so they can make more DLC, more fucking shit for you to buy, more fucking give me your money. But you know what? That's fine. At least the shooting and loot feels good, right? There's no way I'd bitch about that, right? Oh no! Whew, alright, now let's talk about combat and our Vault Hunters. Hey you! Is that all you've got? Ooh, looks like after this next segment, we're gonna have a boss fight. A big problem I have with Borderlands 4 isn't actually the shooting itself, it's actually the visuals attached to it, and the game's complete misunderstanding of its own design philosophy and identity. We've spoken a lot about misunderstood identity with the lack of boss intros and misunderstanding what makes good villains, but this is a game about guns, and what I'm trying to tell you is they fucked up the guns. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the combat in Borderlands 4 is shit. I'm not that type of dumbass. The Vault Hunter skill trees are impeccable, with the widest variety of abilities and power-ups that we have ever seen in the franchise. The guns also handle very well with the return of the alt-fire modes from Borderlands 3, with the addition of licensed parts making a surprise addition. Most Borderlands games limit themselves to 8 gun manufacturers, as to limit the amount of assets that the studio needs to model. What results from this, though, is some gun companies vanishing between games. The way they combated gun types missing was to allow the abilities of guns not present in the game as parts, small perks that add the characteristics of a gun without having to model the actual guns. But what's weird is that not only does Borderlands 4 have less manufacturers than the previous game in total, but also has more new manufacturers than any game before it, and all the new manufacturers suck balls. Every gun manufacturer's gimmick has been simple, but very identifiable. Hyperion's gimmick is as you shoot, your recoil and accuracy improves. Atlas has homing missiles, TDR has exploding guns like a grenade as you reload, Malawon has elemental damage, you get the idea. The new manufacturer gimmicks suck ass and result in you barely using them unless their stats are busted. The Order's gimmick is having you charge your gun before you fire. The Ripper's gimmick is having you charge your gun before you fire. And Daedalus, and I'm not checking if I'm saying that right, fuck you. Hi, editing Zenny here. So it turns out that I said the name right this time, and then I proceed to say it wrong every other time after this. Get fucked. It's just a normal gun, but its alt fire shoots a different ammo type. Order and Ripper guns basically have the same gimmick, which, by the way, sucks in the first place, and Daedalia's guns, whilst not bad, get outperformed by any other gun that can just use the ammo type that the Daedalia's gun is using as its alternative, as Daedalia's guns nerf an ammo's power before applying it to the gun. Removing iconic guns like Dahl, and Hyperion, and adding shit like this is super upsetting. But I can at least understand the developers wanting to add fresh ideas to their game. What I can't stand is the design philosophy of the new guns. In most Borderlands games, you can normally tell what a gun is and what it does just by looking at it. Wow, a bright yellow gun with fins and it's top loaded. That's a Hyperion gun. This gun's gnarly to look at and has a massive ammo capacity. That's a bandit gun. This gun has lots of lights indicating its element and has a massive wheel for its magazine. This must be a Malawan weapon. Manufacturer design philosophy has always been a big part of the Borderlands identity, and I'm saddened to say that it's gone out the fucking window in Borderlands 4. Not all the manufacturers, but it's cutting it close. Let's play a little game. I'm going to show you 4 guns, and I want you to point out which one is the odd one out, and see if you can catch on to the weapon's design philosophy. This is mostly to test those who haven't played Borderlands 4, and for people who have played the previous games. Here's our first gun. It's a pistol that uses a lot of different shapes in its design, and its reload uses a strange cube. Here we have an SMG. It has a lot of different shapes and it reloads using a strange cube. This next gun is a shotgun, and it has a lot of wild and crazy shapes going on, and it reloads with a strange cube. Our last gun is an assault rifle. It utilizes a lot of curves, has bulky antennas, and when you reload, there are these gold fragments all over the magazine, like it's powered by a broken piece of the vault. Now, which gun do you think is the odd one out? If you managed to guess the assault rifle, you are incredibly smart, and I'm so proud of you. Clearly, the design philosophy for these guns, which are Ripper guns, is utilizing a variety of confusing shapes and making the reload be an artifact, whilst the assault rifle is an order weapon that utilizes curved surfaces, antennas, and spiky vault chunks in its reload. Both gun companies have a visual style that differentiates the two. Only get fucked, I lied. The pistol that reloads with the cube is actually an order weapon. These two guns are the same company. Hell, the antennas on the order gun aren't even exclusive to the order. These guns are Ripper guns, and here's another Ripper gun that also identifies with antennas. But maybe I'm being a bit harsh. It's clear that the Ripper guns identify with glowing green and purple. They also utilize a lot of tubes that go well with the over-the-top sights. Only get fucked again, the gun on screen that shares all the traits of a Ripper gun with its exaggerated tubes and glowing green purple lights is actually a torque gun. You know, the guns that used to resemble cars and jets with their heat sinks and checkered flag paint jobs. They look like this now. Tell me that this doesn't look like a laser blaster, and I'll call you a bitch. But again, maybe I'm just being a bit harsh. It's clear that Torque this time around are just relying on the over-the-top heavy machinery vibes. This rocket launcher is over the top, but I can clearly tell just by how heavy and confusing its design is that it is going to launch a massive missile that will pack a punch. Only, no, this is apparently a shotgun. I don't even know what I'm looking at. There are gun companies that the developers did manage to get right, and it's only because they are so simple that you kind of can't fuck it up. Jacob's guns are old-style Western guns, double-barrel shotguns, rifles with leather strapped all over them, revolvers. It's awesome. Vladof is also another gun company with a strong design philosophy too easy to mess up. It is classic modern-day gun with a wild barrel. That's it. And when you aim down the sight, the detailing is red. To you guys, it might seem like a big load of nothing, but I miss being able to see a gun drop and know what it is and if I'm going to like it. But now everything just looks the same. And even if you do see a gun that does look cool, with a large chunk of the guns having horrid gimmicks, it's a vicious cycle of seeing a gun with awesome damage output, holding down the trigger of an assault rifle, and it's not shooting, realizing it's an order gun, and letting go of the trigger while the barrel is in your mouth. But if it isn't the guns themselves driving you insane, the drop rates on mods sure will. Class mods are skill tree boosters that amplify specific characters and their skill trees, which means that if you pick up a class mod for a character that you are not playing, you can't use it, which is fine. Finding the occasional class mod that you can't use makes for a lot of fun when you try out other characters down the line. Finding class mods for other characters that you can't use is normal. What isn't normal is barely getting class class mods for your own class. In other Borderlands games, whatever class you are playing is the class mod focus for the game, with most class mods dropping being for you and a few dropping for other classes even rarer, as to incentivize you to go have runs of the game as other characters. As of writing this, on the 10th of October, class mod drop rates are broken. But how do I know this? Well, very early on, I started noticing I was getting a lot of class mods for Vex. I'm playing as Rafa. I made it my mission very early in the first 5 hours of the game to pick up every single class mod that dropped from enemies in the game. Not a few, every single one. I upgraded my bank as much as I could so I could store them. I had no idea how many I would get, but I just wanted to see. But surely I didn't pick up that many Vex cubes, right? Right? Oh no. Oh no! Oh no! 35. I picked up 35 Vex mods, 16 Harlow mods, 13 Amon mods, and for my boy Rafa, the character I played the whole game as, 10. Here's me finding not 1, not 2, but 3 Vex cubes after one fight, all in a single clip. And you know what? After I pressed stop recording, I found another one! I got 4 class mods for the same character that I'm not fucking playing! I don't even know what kind of commentary I'm supposed to have here. This is insane! Why did you program your game like this? I did not find a single mod for my character in this game that gave me boosts in perks that I actually had points in. That is absolutely miserable, and the fact that this can even happen is a joke. But you don't care about this. You don't care about any of this. You love to watch me suffer. You want me to move on. Zenny's the story guy. Let's talk about the story, Zenny, please. Okay, you little rascals, forget it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the rest of the story.
How very disappointing. It would seem that he's still not ready. Reboot the simulation. Until next time, old friend.
You might be shocked to see that this story segment of the video is surprisingly short compared to a lot of my other videos. And I think that attests to just how small this game's story really is when you look past all of the padding. The shit we talked about at the beginning of the video comprises about 80% of the story. You meet the timekeeper, he kills the person saving you, you gather a group of people to help you kill a guy, do that 2 more times, and here we are. And I'd like to remind you that on the way to get here, the timekeeper, outside of popping his head in on the radio to say, damn, you killed a person, curious, hasn't shown up 80% through the game, and the big bad is nowhere to be seen. But before we go into the bullshit that is the timekeeper, I want to give the game credit for the 2 hours that follow the completion of the 3 smaller bad guys, as a lot of the flaws in the 3 villains areas end up making for a really cool follow-up mission. We interrupt this video to let you know that this is a robbery. You want the video to continue? Then put all the money in the bag! These videos are a lot of fun to make, but they're also kind of expensive. So I'd like to talk to you all about my Patreon and my YouTube memberships. Now, if everyone was willing to give me their money, I wouldn't have to spend so much time robbing banks in order to make these videos happen. Well, that's not good. Patreon pledges and YouTube memberships offer a wide variety of benefits and rewards, like behind-the-scenes content, early access to the videos, and your name listed in the credits of the video. And hey, if you donate $10 a month, you get your name read out at the end of the video! That's kinda cool, right? All these funds go towards 3D assets, commissions, concept artists, voice actors, and so much more. Become a member today by clicking the join button under this video, or to become a Patreon member, click the link in the description. Oi! A little bit of warning, man! So you wanted a side profile? God, you think I committed a crime or something? Callus's boss fight, whilst cool in design, is very easy and very underwhelming in scale. You're trying to foil her plans of launching herself to the moon to fulfill her destiny that she saw in the flames. Ooh. And once you see the lift that will go to the moon, you think it's going to be a cool arena that you'll fight her on. But no, Zane tells you not to worry about the lift because if you kill her, she can't use it. It's kind of a letdown. However, it will turn out that the lift is used as a plot point later, as you need to get to the moon yourself in order to save Lilith. Oh, by the way, Lilith crashed the moon from Pandora into Kairos by teleporting it, which is not shown in the game in any way. You're vaguely told in the opening that fire came to Kairos, and then it just jumps to a cutscene where Pandora's moon is just there, above Kairos. If you didn't see the reveal trailer for Borderlands 4, you're just not shown any of this. You need to get to the moon to save Lilith, which was a major plot point in Vile Lictor's storyline, and it's here where Zane comes up with the idea of using Callus's lift to get to the moon. It's a nice follow-through on a cool idea that you assume vanished from the story, and it is really cool seeing these pieces come together. And then the sickest shit in the entire game happens. You know how I said Callus's boss fight was super underwhelming? Well, she's not dead.
How perfect that you are here to see my ascent. All you killed of me was flesh and blood, the weaker part of me. What's left is divine.
Flesh and blood? The vision was a lie. It wasn't me. It was her. She was always flesh and blood. There is no escape. There never was. Not for me. Not for anyone!
And you get to have her real boss fight on the moon. And credit where it's due, it is awesome. It is the best the game gets, and poetically, just like the chunks of the moon, it all comes crashing down. And that's not to say that the game doesn't trick you with its potential. During Lictor's Zone, you're trying to kill Vile, but you are also trying to track down a masked siren, who Vile Lictor was holding captive and experimenting on. He even refers to this siren as Amara's friend, clearly indicating that it's Lilith, with the cool twist being that when he said the Vault Hunter's friend, he isn't talking to Amara the Vault Hunter, he's talking about you, the Vault Hunter. This supposed friend siren is not Lilith, who is Amara's friend, it's your friend, RJ.
RJ? But I'm dead. Right. That would have been convenient. Lictor needed prisoners for his experiments. And even though the timekeeper broke me, I held on. I guess that made me a prime candidate, huh? While you've been out saving the world, I've been cut apart, stretched across dimensions, holes burned through my skull so that universes of every color could pour themselves in.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, no worries. I mean, what's getting tortured in a cross-dimensional mind screw between friends? But Lilith, it's her fault. All of this happened. You shouldn't be out here. You need to go back to reality and drop the Vault Hunter Act.
And if I don't?
Then I stop you. Let me get that. I'd hate to leave a friend behind.
I I cannot tell you how hyped I was to see another male siren. We got a male siren in Borderlands 3 as they were twins, and sadly they never went anywhere with the concept and they just fucked it up. But here they are trying again, acknowledging their mistakes in the previous game. I'm sure this time they're going to elaborate on the consequences of there being a male siren and develop RJ into a cool character / villain. Oh no. I'm doing the voice of inevitable letdown again, aren't I? Okay, now that we have some setup, let's continue with the story. You save Lilith, you blow a hole in the wall of the city, and it's here where the game's writing goes to shit. You need to get to the Timekeeper's tower. But you can't because triangle. Okay, so you go get a thing to break the triangle. Sweet. So you go to walk to the Timekeeper's tower, but uh-oh, it's a trap and some fuckery happens. And don't worry, we'll be getting to that real soon! Then to enter the tower, you need to listen to some echoes so you can hack the tower. Now you can finally go into the tower. Oh wait, no you can't. Shit, the game's auto-locked the enemies at the base of the tower to be 3 levels above you. You struggle, but you make it to the tower, you go into the tower, and once you make it atop the tower, oh boy, there's another fucking tower! But let's go back a second. Before you get to the tower, there is a trap that completely implodes this game's writing and breaks every single rule it's placed upon not only the world, but you, the player. You know how watching a smart character become dumb is a really frustrating trope in games these days? Like they intentionally just start writing a character differently in a scene so they can get away with some stupid shit? Well, for a solid 10 minutes, this game does that on steroids. Before you had the Echo Bot, the Timekeeper took control of you and uses your body to try and kill RJ. With the Echo Bot with you though, he can't do that anymore. Remember this for later. Zadra was the Timekeeper's second-hand woman for centuries and invented all of his tech, which includes the bolts, which allow the Timekeeper to take over people's bodies and minds. She joined you to kill the Timekeeper specifically because she regrets inventing the bolts and helps you because you have the Echo Bot and she can work with someone who cannot be controlled by the Timekeeper. Anyway, the Timekeeper's forces break your Echo Bot and you're teleported back to base. You then ask Zadra for a gun, she gives you one, and oh my god, shocker, you're actually the Timekeeper, and the Timekeeper kills Zadra. Allow me to explain how stupid this is in the most Borderlands way possible. Poop humor. Hi, I'm John. I suffer from shit in your mouth-itis. I'm very susceptible to shitting in people's mouths. This is the Don't Shit in People's Mouths 3000. It stops me from shitting in people's mouths. You are the Ivy League professor with a degree on how having shit in your mouth is bad. You only become friends with me because of the Don't Shit in People's Mouth 3000 stopping me from shitting in your mouth. But then the Don't Shit in People's Mouths 3000 breaks. You stare at the broken Don't Shit in People's Mouths 3000 that stops me from shitting in people's mouths and go, curious, the Don't Shit in People's Mouth 3000 is broken. This could be really bad. I then ask you to put your mouth to my fucking butthole and you just do it? She picks up the broken Echo Bot and places it on a table. She knows that the Timekeeper can control you now. It's been his whole goal this entire time. The audacity of the writers to have your character ask Zadra for a gun is a fucking joke. The punchline is that she actually falls for it. When the Timekeeper takes control of people, their eyes go yellow. She is looking directly at you. What is happening? What's absolutely insane is that the Echo Bot is broken, and yet when the Timekeeper tries to make you shoot yourself after all of this, you somehow overcome his control. Oh, that's cool. Will they follow up on how you did that? No, they don't. What's more insane is that after this scene, the game realizes that half the UI and side quests require you to have the Echo Bot. So they just retcon the Echo Bot being dead. This scene right here is not the Echo Bot booting back up and stopping the Timekeeper. This is you overcoming the bolt in your neck. You and the Timekeeper are both shocked on how you even managed to do this. And the game never explains how you you did this. It doesn't even show you fixing or even looking at the Echo Bot. It just vanishes off the table, and then later you just notice that he's in your menu still. This is your first proper interaction with the Timekeeper since the opening, and it's just another character's writing and general world rules being broken so that the Timekeeper can have a cool badass moment. Aha! I fooled you. I'm smart. I'm very smart. I'm way cooler than Handsome Jack, guys. Please remember me after the credits roll. And I'd like to bring up a massive plot hole that the game absolutely never addresses, and it's driving me fucking insane. To rip out the bolt that the Timekeeper can wield would make you go insane. That's what the Rippers are. They are a faction of crazy people who either ripped out their own bolts or had them removed by someone else. You are the only one who doesn't have an active bolt. It's being suppressed by the Echo Bot. So quick question, why the fuck doesn't the Timekeeper just kill everyone else? Your allies don't have jamming signals, as when they encounter Callus doing it, they seem shocked about it. It also jams comms, and characters are yapping at you all game. And we also see in Callus's zone that the Timekeeper can just kill people in mass who have bolts. So why is the Timekeeper not just murdering the hundreds and thousands of people joining your resistance? I assumed that this wasn't a plot hole, and that maybe the twist will be that he wants to die and he hates his immortality that we were told was granted to him by the vault he is guarding. But as we will talk about later, he definitely wants you all dead, and the vault does not in fact give him his immortality. So the fact that the game doesn't at least try to write around any of this is wild to me. Yes, there are characters who don't have bolts, but that doesn't address the literal hundreds of other characters. Like, come on, when you finally invade his tower, he speaks through your friends about how he's going to kill everyone. And then he just doesn't. He just uses their bodies to hold other bodies hostage that he could have also just taken control of in mass and murdered them. You cannot give your character this type of power, write scenes where he demonstrates that he can use that power, and then not write a way around how he doesn't use the power to do the one thing that he wants to do. It is such a confusing plot point that you do just assume it's going somewhere. There is a very weak line about how mayhem is more powerful than order, and the chaos will keep people in line. But that's just not true. Look at all the fucking mayhem and chaos I have caused. How has this kept more people in order? He is just saying things to sound cool, because he will blabber about order again once you see him in person for the first time. What's even worse is, and I swear to God I've said that a million times, I'll say something bad about this game and then I'll always follow it up with, and it gets worse. But what's even worse is, the Timekeeper does actually have a cool twist, but it honestly just muddies the waters even more and makes the story more confusing. Once you face the Timekeeper, it's revealed that he isn't a man that opened the vault and gained its powers. He is something more monstrous.
Enough! Free will. A rampant tumor, killing my perfect system. And why should you get to be free? All you do is destroy, while I must hold back chaos for eternity!
You think you're the prisoner? You did all of this yourself!
Is that what I look like through the eyes of a Vault Hunter? Someone who has a choice. I was given an order.
Here, we have bared witness to the first vault monster to defend a vault from not the inside, but the outside. This is a Vault Guardian's most elaborate attempt to keep people out of the vault. He was given very special orders to defend this vault. Whatever is inside this vault is bigger than we could have possibly imagined. So what's in the vault? Sequel bait. Fuck you! I'm gonna tell you what I thought was inside the vault and also tell you how I felt the game should have gone. A classic for the channel, and then we'll follow it up with what actually went down. The Timekeeper lives a life where he refuses to allow anything to break. Order was paramount no matter the cost. He was basically imprisoned to an eternity of guarding a vault with something dangerous inside. He was the Timekeeper, but why was he called that? As he dies, he says this.
Everything breaks. Even cages.
By killing the Timekeeper, you set him free of his duty. You assume he is the villain. He imprisoned an entire planet, refusing anyone to leave, and he is a tyrant. You open the vault, and shortly after, you realize your mistake. You read a prophecy embedded in stone. The vault was not holding a power, loot, or treasure. It was a prison for the being that will bring the end of time itself. A being set to destroy the phase realm and harness its power to bring the entire universe to its end. Time will not freeze once the deed is done. It will cease. There will be no proof to prove the fact. It will be less than a black void. It will be greater than nothing. He was named the Timekeeper because he kept the end of it in check. He kept time in motion, no matter the sacrifice. He was definitely a bad guy, but you have now become something worse. And in your pursuit for riches and glory, you just doomed the universe to its potential end. This is the war that was promised in every single game before this. It's here, as we cut to black. From here, all the Borderlands 4 DLC will now be you going from planet to planet, gathering every single character from the franchise so that when Borderlands 5 starts, the great war that's been alluded to in every game can finally start. The war that the Vault Hunters started with their greed. And RJ hates the Sirens and their powers and joins this being of darkness as its second-hand man. The stage is set. Let the war begin. But yeah, none of that is true. Instead, it's all very confusing. Firstly, you kill the Timekeeper, and then the credits roll, before you have even seen why he enslaved everyone. You then enter the vault, but instead of entering the vault, you enter the phase realm and fight RJ. And he just fucking dies? They fucked up another male siren. Why did they even include him in the story? He literally does nothing. He is all set up with just no follow through whatsoever. I fucking hate video games, man, I swear to God. And it turns out that the Timekeeper was just protecting a prophecy about the end of time. And then a different version of Lilith shows up, and Lilith is also with us as well, and they give us a cube, which is supposedly the treasure of the vault. And they just say, hey, the end of the world is coming, you'll need this. What does it do? It helps you. I don't know. Bye. So the Timekeeper was just guarding the information that the end of time was coming. Like, dude, the people that placed the Timekeeper there also made the vaults. If you didn't want people to know about the end of time coming, maybe don't write it down. In my version, opening the vault is what causes the end of time to become inevitable. But here, it was always going to happen, and the Timekeeper was just guarding the information that they themselves put there. This whole end of time shit is so vague as well, by the way. It is intentional. To make this whole game really simple for you, the driving plot behind the villain of this game is the plot of the next game that they haven't written yet and have no idea what it's going to be. $120, please. We'll be sure to charge you $150 for the next one. What's even more diabolical is the fact that the game's ending also muddies the water on what the Vault Hunters even are. At the start of the franchise, they are badass warriors who want fame, gold, guns, and glory. But now, the game's telling me that the Vault Hunters are actually the universe's way of bringing balance to the universe, and that, like, they are cosmic warriors of peace? What the fuck is happening to this franchise, man? Ooh, the power of the vaults is actually the monsters. Ooh, the Vault Hunters are actually cosmic guardians. Actually, no, I'm just realizing I lied to you. The game didn't tell me all of that, because when the end cutscene plays, the dialogue is broken again. Borderlands 4 has very little story, and the story that you do get has a beginning, another beginning, no middle, and then the ending is actually just the beginning of the next product that you'll buy in 6 years' time. Borderlands 4 is a bad game because all it wants to be is a game where you do the same shit over and over again in an empty world where the story doesn't matter, where weapons identity blends together, you never get gear that you longed for, where every small boss is just a guy you've already fought before, where the timekeeper has less than 3 minutes of in-person screen time in a franchise, remembered for its villains and character quirks. Like, look, if you enjoyed shooting things, then I'm really happy for you. But the Borderlands that I personally loved as a kid is dead. Man, I've been a real downer lately on the channel. How about the next video we talk about a game that I actually like, you know? Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's finally make a positive video where I can actually smile and stop screaming. Let's talk about... Oh, hey everyone. My throat is killing me after making this video. When I uploaded that video asking for people to please support me on the Patreon, I wasn't expecting this many people not complaining. Thank you for making these videos possible. I have a lot of people that I need to thank, which is everybody that you can see on this screen right now, both from Patreon and YouTube members. Also, for those that are about to get their names read out, I'd like to let you know that I am notoriously bad at reading people's names, so get ready to start slamming me in the comments. So a big thank you to Papa Sun, Astral Phoenix, Fancy Feet with 3s instead of E's, the Superstorm 49, Coffee.pot.cat, One Canadian Derg, KD Ratio 85, Ghost X22774, Call of Mutts, Videopar 97, Sneaky, IR Awesome, Engine and Tonic TM, Snowbird, Mr. I Blush 24/7, Just V, Celery Boy, Shino, Ramble 7, Shadow in the Dark, Skylar Barrett, Pentasquint, Chugler, Dat One Blue Mew, Blessed Jaguar 74, Delafontaine Does or Delafontaine Does? Oh boy, we got our first one. Augustus Wolf, Camping Carl. Again, I'm so sorry. Eileen the Crow or Eileen the Crow, Ragnarok, Goofus Maximus, I love that name, Harry L, The Murray 12, Gorgalisk, Astral Fire. Ooh, we've got an Astral Fire and an Astral Phoenix. That's kind of cool. Very Mundane, Blazing Cold Wolf, Marco Busevic, I'm so sorry, RJPD666. Aha, you little shit. This next name I've gotten wrong multiple times, but I have it up on another screen, the correct pronunciation, and I think he's messing with me because it's actually, I've been saying Unikiv like a dumbass, it's Unik. So I hope we got that right this time. The Thorb, Bloody Kitsune, Brassnack, Sophie2088CZ, Fire Joe. I am sorry, there's no way I'm getting that right, but I'm gonna give it 2 more tries and hopefully we get for the best. So you get 3 name reads. So Fiery Joe, it's FYRIJOU. I'm terribly sorry, but thank you very much for your pledge. Dialogic, Igoric, Lucas Edwards, Mr. Bonkles. This next one's funny. It's Squeed's Nuts, as in suck D's nuts. And I'm sorry if that's wrong, but I'm doing my best. Helium 82, Luke Fredericks, Regretful Respawn, Batcat, Red Raptor 98, Pancake Pappy or Pancake Pappy, Black Blaze 22, Kodiak Bricks, Peter Engam, Daxdip, Snow 281, Aimless Traveler, Smittles, Banana Knight, See That Gamer, Grumpus Maximus, Open Medal, Rotisserie, Art Fox, Roach, Vast West 4, Carstine or Carstine? Either way, thank you. Justice Wood, I believe it's pronounced Nazura? It's either Nazura or Nazaura. Either way, lovely name. MC Builder, RKO, Just Another Jane, AX Hawthorne, Hunter. Okay, I'm gonna wing this. It's either Tyler Cutty or Tyler Tischudidi. Man, I'm so sorry. Cinnabar Marigold, Grockham Glob Poo Poo, Ninja Monkey, DY Hero, Almighty Dark, Saber the Mage, Alex Doctor, Fire Dragus, League of Legends, Thatcher Van Den Hemmel, Josh F or Joseph, Matthew Henry, Sam Cords, The Akashic Records, Call of Mutts, again, I see what you're doing, you little shits, Coffee.pot.cat, again, Daikon, wait, Onik, have you pledged twice now? Oh, you little shit. Pyrie, Engine and Tonic TM, again, I keep forgetting you're pledged twice, and the Superstorm 49 is also pledged for a second time. You guys are so bad with your money, but you know what? I'm thankful. Thank you all so very much for watching the video and for supporting me. If you are listening to this part of the video, the little roars you heard before, if you've made it this far, I'll just tell you, the next video is on King Kong for the PlayStation 2. And as for the posers on the internet that only just discovered the game in the last 5 years and have all been making videos on it because it's a hidden gem, I was playing that game when I came out in 2005, 7 years old. I was playing that game when I was 6 or 7 years old. I grew up on that game, it is my game to talk about, and you're all frauds! Anyway, thank you all for watching the video, it means the world to me. I've got a lot in store for the rest of the year, and I can't wait to show you more. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!